one more, just a minute. I'm still. You are screen sharing. Can you hear? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. Here. Okay. Okay, chapter 6, we talk about kitchen planning. So, like, it's when you start to go over all this chapter, you will start to see the book is start to repeat something it's already talked in the other chapter, and which is great because it's not something so complicated, but it just remembers some topics we talked before. And again, in kitchen planning, it's the moment when we start to put together, start to put in practice all the information we gathered before. Remember the last class we talked assessing needs. It's the moment when we collect, we pick all the informations, we check pictures, we do measurements, we interview the kitchen with the customers, they prepare this questionnaire, etc. There's this come and go into the customer house. Anyways, it's a moment when you get all information, get information. Now we start to plan. It's the moment we start to how to make all this the information into a project. So this chapter presents information to help you consider how to plan the kitchen space to meet the needs of the clients. They always highlight this to meet the needs of the clients because of course, it's a common sense. We do something for the person, we need to think about the other person, but most of the time, sometimes people used to think the design, I saw it, I witnessed this in the past, people design something where they think it's cool, but they don't think about the customer. It's a really old time, really old fashioned. And some people want to some professional in the past, they want to have this kind of signature. I want to design this because it's going to be really cool. And then somebody else visit my customer and this customer talk, I did this project, and I think, well, but this is not for you, this is for the customer. So we need to meet the client's needs. So to brief, again, to meet the customer needs, anthropometric data, it's really important all the time. Kitchen usage, cultural traditions, again, we need to think about cultural traditions. It's not what you think is cool, but what they need, what they want, what they like, the food they prepare, the way they prepare, the culture is really important to respect. As a designers and artists, we need to think about how to translate this cultural diversity into our project. I think this is a really good signature. And equipment as well. Don't forget, inside the kitchen, we have a lot of equipment, special equipment to hazmat. So we need to know about this equipment, how we use this equipment, how the customer do the interface with this equipment. So it's not a rocket science, but demands us kind of care, more care about when we prescribe some for their kitchen. Okay. Oops. Location and types of kitchen. Kitchen is a workspace that was separate from the social space of the home. Now we can see it as integrates to the home social activity. And there's something happened with my slides. Oh, I'm so sorry, location. And this slide, there's some problem. I'm really sorry what happened here. But what I want to say in the past, unfortunately, the pictures disappear. In the past, the kitchen was something totally a part of the house. If you see some old movies, you see usually the kitchen had a door. It's like a different room and with a door. And then who is inside the kitchen doesn't have any contact with the people in the social area at the time when we have servants. But it doesn't exist anymore. Now the kitchen it's not only for the servants, for us. So and step by step, the people start to think about to merge this area with the other areas. Located at the kitchen. Some of the homes are planning using the zoning paradigm, with the kitchen categorized in the work zone and the other areas of the home characterized as private and social zones. So it's like that. The kitchen is a place where you go to work. The people stay in the kitchen, like this kitchen below. You can see the kitchen here. This is a social area, and the kitchen is here inside this compartment, this room. So there's a door here. Who's inside the kitchen doesn't have any contact with the rest of the house. So whenever you go inside the kitchen, that you used to see in the past, an area where not only you prepare food, but you do different activities like laundering, like mending, etc. So the people used to be here totally isolated from the house in the past. Now it's different. Now the kitchen is considered part of an informal social space. Other activities are also occurring in the kitchen and surround areas. Like as you can see now, a kitchen step by step, it's more integrated with the other parts of the house, the social area, living room, etc. And there's another consideration we need to think about this. Now the apartments, the houses start to be smaller. So it's better when you have a area like kitchen more open. So you make the space more wide, more bigger. So it's another problem with the nowadays. It's the size of the environment, the size of the house. They drive to this direction, but not only because the size, but because the people behavior. People now they want to be more socialized in the kitchen. The kitchen is the area where we can receive people, where we can have activities, social activities like that. Some people study in this area. Some people prepare their budget here. So the count, especially the counter. So today lives seem require an informal living space where family members and friends gather to share the lives on a regular basis. On a regular basis. So work zone. In this chapter, it talks about this work zone. What is work zone? As I told previously, in the past, the kitchen was a space where the people, especially the servant, used to work isolated from the rest of the family. So originally, the work zone allowed servants to perform household tasks without interruption and observation from the family and the other parts of the house. But it's a good point to talk about this work zone, because I like this term work zone, because despite the fact we have this here, this social area, and we have this more different activities in the kitchen, we never can forget about one details related to the kitchen. Kitchen is a work zone. It's a place where we have to cook, where you use fire, where you use hot, where you have a lot of, we have knives, we have tools. So it's a hazmat, it's an area with hazmat. So we need to be careful. It's still an area where there's something can happen. It's not good to have people, special kids there. So when we talk about kitchen design, I like the idea, this is my personal opinion, the idea of talk kitchen. It's a place where the people like to gather together like this, where we will have a lot of activity. But I never forgot the first rule for me. It's still a place with a lot of dangers. So we need to consider this. I think it's really cool to put TVs there, to talk to people, have a different activities there, but it's still a place we can hurt yourself, we can hurt somebody, okay? So nowadays, the work areas remain consolidated into a specific part of the house. Grouping these areas help the householders to make their job more convenient. So despite the fact everything changed from the last century, the century before the last century, these work areas now is consolidated. We have the area for cleaning, we have the area for storage, we have the area for cooking, we have the area for different kinds of storage. So this concept was consolidated now. It's a work area. It's an area where the people go to work, to do some activities. So when you move forward with these slides, we will understand what we talk about, this consolidation. So as you could see, probably during this last class, when I put some slides, when I asked you to go online and research different kitchen, you could see there are a lot of different ways for us to organize the kitchen. Not only, I'm not talking only about design, I'm not talk only about materials, finishing, color. I talk the way we organize, we arrange the kitchen, the layout. Here in this book, they don't use this name layout. I like to use more, I think it's more technical. They call arrangement. So there are two kinds of arrangement. One is called closed arrangement for kitchen, and the other is open arrangement. So I think the open arrangement now is start to be more popular everywhere, because as I told you before, because of the idea to integrate, to make the people more social in the kitchen, the integration of different areas demands the kitchen to be more open, but it still has some close arrangement. And we'll talk about this now. Whether or not the kitchen is considered a work area or a social space may also influence what type of arrangement is planned. Traditional planning has suggested that there were a few common arrangements of kitchen areas, and these could be planned into a variety of spaces. So certain arrangements lend themselves to either closed arrangement and open arrangement. I'll talk about this. Some arrangement it's a match for both kind of arrangements. Some layouts will it fits for different arrangements, closed or open. The first one is the closed arrangement. Let's talk about the closed arrangement. This arrangement that the kitchen is probably best suited for one cook who works in isolation. I don't know if a lot of people like to do this, but if you're single, maybe you don't care. But I think be isolated in the kitchen is still a little bit boring for me nowadays. This arrangement does not lend itself to other family members or guests moving about in or through the space, but it often makes an efficient workspace, definitely, because it's closed, so we can be more organized. I think we'll be more safe there. We won't have a problem with people get in, get out, which is not really cool, especially in small areas like that. For each slide, I put this two kind of definition. One is the definition we see in our book, the National Kitchen Bath Association, and the other is the one I researched online. And this is one I saw online I really liked about this architectural digest. It tells us, while open kitchens seamlessly integrate with the rest of the house, it's a space that cannot afford to look messy. It's true. Closed kitchens are perfect if you prefer privacy while cooking, or are very busy to tidy up all the time. So if people want to be more private, some people doesn't like to the other people invade their kitchen space, so maybe the closed arrangement is more suitable. But I don't think it's very common nowadays. So the following arrangements fall into this category. So which arrangement or which layout fall in this closed arrangements? The first is the U shape. The U-shape is, I see a lot of U-shape in the US. U-shaped kitchen. This arrangement has two parallel cabinet, counter and work areas with a third area joining them, forming an arrangement similar to U, like as you can see here. So a U-shaped kitchen is the most functionally sound kitchen layout. A work triangle, or the space between your stove, refrigerator, and sink support functionality, since it separates three major elements of your kitchen. Which is these three major elements? A refrigerator, the sink where you do the cleaning and prepare the food, and the hot area where you cook the food. So these are the basic three areas, the three main areas of the kitchen. They always organize in this triangle. We'll talk about this triangle later. the end of this slide. With a U-shaped layout, you get the most counter space out of any layout options. That's the opinion of the Kitchen Cabinet Kings. It's a company who makes kitchen cabinets. And as you can see, we have some examples of a U-shaped layout. I got this first one. It's I consider a medium-sized kitchen. As you can see, we have a definitely really good area to prepare, to clean, to cook. Probably the refrigerator should be here on this side. So U-shape is really efficient. And when you want something more, like say, more close to you. And this right side, we can see another U-shaped kitchen in a smaller area. As you can see here, it works perfectly for a medium size, even for a smaller size. Obviously, in this area here, probably one person, it's enough. Two will be a little bit confused. But here supports two people really comfortably. So another layout for closed arrangement is the one called parallel or gateway kitchen. I want to highlight something. I've been watching a lot of videos online, and I see a lot of confusion about gateway kitchen, and aisle and corridor kitchen. Sometimes it's really confused. But parallel or gateway kitchen is basically like that. This arrangement offers two parallel cabinets, counter work areas, typically with a wall at the end, so the traffic doesn't go through the kitchen. I want to highlight this. The traffic doesn't go to the kitchen. In the next, not this slide, but the end of the slide, the open arrangement, we'll see another similar layout like that with a little small difference. And the difference is exactly because one end is not closed. And this is called the corridor layout or corridor kitchen. But some people, especially online in these TV shows, they call, sometimes they made a mistake about corridor kitchen and gateway kitchen. So gateway kitchen doesn't have one entrance, but the other side is closed. That's gateway. So parallel or gateway kitchen layouts are a relatively newer concept where two kitchen platforms along with their cabinets run parallel to each other. Compact and yet convenient, these kitchens are a favorite with the small apartments, dwellers, or those who have a space constraint. It's true. I saw a lot of videos now online. I like to follow a guy from New Zealand. He has a channel on YouTube. He talks about people who live in a small space. They make a house in these trailers, and usually it's a really small space. And 100% of the kitchens in this mini house, these small houses, they use this system here, the gateway kitchen. At the end of the trailer, they have this gateway, so it works perfect for really tiny house. They call it tiny house, living big in a tiny house. It's amazing. So, but that's a one point. There's one entrance, and the other side is closed. You don't have access for the other side. This is the gateway or parallel kitchen. Okay. This is an example of gateway or parallel kitchen. As you can see, you get into this area. At the end of this corridor, this area has nothing, or a cabinet, or a wall. And so this is the gateway or parallel layout, parallel arrangement in closed areas. Another closed arrangement layout is one called G-shaped. This arrangement is a wild U-shape. As you can see, it's similar to the first one, the U-shape. The only difference, we have this little arm turning back into the center of the space. So it describes the letter G. So it's good because as you can see, we have an extra space here. You have an extra counter. We have an extra surface you can use if you have a space. You have a big opening. So the G-shaped kitchen is a version of the U-shaped kitchen layout with the same amount of counter space and storage options that surround the cook and the three sides. However, the G-shaped kitchen floor plan includes a peninsula, like this here, or a partial fourth wall of additional cabinets. So this is I think this guy and this here is the most popular here so far in US, maybe in the rest of the world start to go like that, because if you have a medium house, a small house, you can go with this. This here, I think it goes really well for mini house like that, that people now start to live in a really small house like containers. I saw people make a house inside the containers, this container for shipping, and they do a really good job, and they use this kitchen here, this layout. For regular house, I think the G shape it's awesome because we have one more extra area for you to work. So as you can see, this is a typical G shape. You have here the traditional U. Everything the designer did was include this space. It could be a table or a countertop like this. So we can use this area. Outside is still integrated with the kitchen, so you get more space, you get more util space for your design. So close arrangement. All these arrangements can be planned to feel more open by increasing the distance between the sides of the space and by creating a pass-through or peninsula counter. Dining areas or other social space might be planned at the end of the arrangement to increase access. So the peninsula is like this we talked previously, but they have another furniture. Some people use like island to do this arrangement. And when he said creating an opening means we can make this arrangement in an original closed kitchen. Everything we did was open a hole in the wall and open the kitchen for the rest of the house. So kitchen layouts with peninsula. A peninsula is basically a connect island, converting an L-shaped kitchen layout into a horseshoe or U-shape. In many kitchens that have this layout, the peninsula serves as a room divider that separates the kitchen from the dining or living room area I seen in this design. So I'll give an example of this opening the next slide. So this is something I used to do. I did a couple of times when I was working interior design. In my country, the kitchen traditionally, like in my country, the kitchen is totally was still isolated from the rest of the other house. And people start to complain about this. They want to have a more open area. They want to have a connection between the kitchen with the rest of the house. And we start to do this. We start to break the walls and make this window. And in the window, we put this balcony, so we have a connection with the rest of the house. Here, they talk about this pass-through or peninsula, pass-through. In my country, we call this a buffet. So the buffet was becoming really popular back in 80s and 90s because the people was fed up to be totally isolated with the rest of the house. The people in the living room gathering together, and who is the kitchen was totally by itself, and it's not good. So a good example of this pass-through or this buffet are those two pictures. As you can see, originally the kitchen was totally closed in the past, and the designer, the architect, opened the window, put down the wall. Obviously, before he does it, he talked with the contractor, he read the plans to see if there's no kind of installation here. We just cannot break the wall without know what we have inside. We talk about this in our second class, if you remember. So if it's possible to open the window, open a hole in the wall, we can do it and make this organization. So we can, originally the house was designed with the kitchen totally isolated from the rest of the house. Opening this window, we integrated this kitchen with the rest of the house. This is another solution. So the guy opened the windows in this kitchen and put some three benches here. Now we have this balcony. So who is inside is talk with the people who's outside. You can check the food and pass through this counter, check to the dining room, etc. So we don't need to, there's not a big deal now. We don't need to do a lot of extra work to check the food from the kitchen and take to and deliver in the living room or dining room. So we saw previously the closed arrangement. Now we will talk about open arrangement. Open arrangement, it's really popular now, especially in small areas. As I told, especially small apartments. I saw some videos too. We talk about people buying this loft, these kitchenettes in big cities like New York, like Los Angeles. The apartment is so small, and they put down all the interior walls. The walls is not structural, and they make a big area integrate in only one space, and the kitchen is there in the corner, totally open, so we can see the rest of the house. I think this is a really cool idea. I like this really very much. So all more likely to be used if there are two cooks or if there will be several people in the kitchen area. Often these arrangements can combine with social space to create a multi-use space. In residential design, open plan or open concept, the term usually mainly in Canada, describes the elimination of barriers such as walls and doors that traditionally separated distinct functional areas, such as combining the kitchen, living room, and dining room into a single great room, like I told you. So, and there are a lot, I think this here, it's more challenging for us because as a part of the rest of the house, we need to be really creative to organize, to visually the kitchen for the rest of the house. So one of the great aligned in this process is using this element called island. We'll talk about this. So in open arrangement, one of the most popular is the L-shaped kitchen, but L-shaped kitchen, as you can see, is the shape of a letter L. This arrangement has two arms of work areas joined together at the end, one end to form an L shape. Often one person could work one side and another on the other side without too much interference. L-shaped kitchens are popular because they work well where space is limited. They set up an efficient triangle connection, the three workstations, sink, cooktop, and refrigerator, and they allow the kitchen to open to another living space. So if you're planning to have a space integrated to your house, and your house is apartments, a small house, L-shape is one of the most suitable for this kind of house. So there's a typical L shape. As you can see, it's totally open. You don't have any obstacle between this area and the other areas. It's safe, so you have all this part close to the wall, so people can walk through here without any interference who is working. So this is the corridor kitchen. Remember in the first, one of the first slides in this presentation, we talk about Gailey kitchen. As you can see, I put this drawing, but this is a confusion we see all the time, especially in TV. This is not a Gailey kitchen, second our book. Because if you remember Gailey kitchen, the traditional Gailey kitchen, it's closed. One side is closed and the other side is open. This is called corridor kitchen. Why it's a corridor? Because you have two rooms here and people can use the kitchen as a corridor. I don't like this system because, as I told you before in the beginning of the slide, and I always highlight for you, kitchen is a really dangerous area. I don't see this something really intelligent if you have a kids, for example. Imagine this is your living room and you are here. And this is the area, outside area, and the kids are playing here. And you know, kids unpredictable. They do a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff with their kids. And then they can be running to see the TV and you are here cooking something really hot and then some accident can happen. So I don't like this corridor kitchen because I don't think it's intelligent to have a kitchen, a place where we have a lot of hazmat, or we have a lot of heat, or we have a lot of people working, knives, etc., and people walking all the time here, especially kids. So, but this is a kind of layout that exists. We need to talk about it. So this arrangement is similar to the parallel kitchen or galley, except that both ends are open, as you can see. So this is the corridor. A corridor kitchen, which can also be referred to as a galley kitchen, is a small space kitchen with more length than width. Corridor kitchens are economical on space, but can be horrible inefficient if not properly planned. I agree. Main apartments or convert house will have a corridor kitchen. Yeah, people use, I saw some house, they put the bathroom at the end of this kitchen in this small house, this mini house like trailer, etc. But usually it's a couple, it's all the people live in this area, so I don't see problem. My problem is if you have a big family and I have a kids and people walk all the time here, so I don't think it's intelligent. I want to be personally, I want to be totally comfortable me cooking here and my kids passing behind me all the time. Sometimes I can turn around with a hot pot in my hand, my 7-year-old daughter is behind me, you know, see some accident can happen. But anyways, it's a layout, it's a popular layout as well. So as you can see, this is a corridor kitchen. At the end of the wall, we have this access for the patio, and probably here it's access for the living room or dining room. And here the same, we have another access for the exterior of the house, so people can pass through all the time here. When you go outside, you come inside. To anyways, it's comfortable to have this opening here to take some drinks, but it's a passage, it's a door, it's not just a buffet, so people will walk through this all the time. So open arrangement, still talk about open arrangement. Remember I talked about this element called island. Island is something really cool, but the problem in this small apartment, this small house, it's not so popular because it's occupy a lot of space, but island, it's a separate work area like this. It's really good for open arrangement because if you have a layout like that in an open area, this is totally open. If you put this furniture here, this cabinet here, you not only make this division, this border between this kitchen and the whatever is here, like a dining room, living room, but you gain a lot of space. You gain space for storage. You gain space for work. So island kitchen is really cool. But when you have space, a separate work area or island can be incorporated into most of this kitchen configuration. All this configuration show before, especially this here, L and G shape. But it demands space. Incorporate all these kitchen configurations, provide there is room for the proper clearances in the work and traffic aisle. What is kitchen island? A kitchen island is a freestanding cabinet which can either match your existing kitchen design or complement it. A kitchen island can have kitchen stools around it for extra seating and include integral storage drawers or cabinets, and can be used to house your cooking appliance. So as you can see here in the next slide, I have this G shape. They put this countertop closing this area. It's a small apartment. It's an open kitchen, and the designer, the architect, incorporate in this U-shaped kitchen, this L-shaped kitchen, this balcony. But you can use these elements if you don't, the customer doesn't want to make something more fixed. So as you can see, works really well. It's a really interesting furniture, but again, you need to have space for this to use. So Another important topic to talk today, it's about the size of kitchens. So, which is the size of the kitchen? When we consider small, medium, or large, it's not something you decide. So, the National Kitchen Design, they allowed us to know what they are using in the market now, what the kitchen designers consider small, medium, and large. It's not something we define. It was defined for us before. So research indicates that certified kitchen designers design kitchen in range that could be categorized as follow. Small kitchen, and all the kitchen less than 150 square foot. So for here in US, 150 square foot maximum is considered a small kitchen. Medium is the kitchen from 151 square foot to 350 square foot, like this here. This is considered a medium kitchen. And large kitchen, bigger than 350, like this. So most of the time, I think we'll see something like that. And nowadays, in the future, I think be prepared. I think we see something more like this, not only here but around the world. We're living in this crazy moment. This pandemic is driving the rest of the world into a terrible economic crisis, and obviously people will start to be more economic for now and all. So one of the first step, as I can see, is downsize the size of the house, downsize the size of the apartment. So people want to be more economic when they buy, not only because the small houses are cheaper, but to maintain the small house is better. It's cheaper than to maintain a bigger house. So 30 years ago, 35 years ago, probably this is gonna be the most popular back in 1980s. But now I believe this is the trend. I've been following the trend since 2008, 2009, and back that time, talk with different design, different architects, not only in my country, but in Europe, and all of them told me, Demetrius, the future shows that people start to live in a small space for now and forever. That's why all the designers, all the companies, the design companies and the furniture companies, they invest a lot of money developing multifunctional furniture. A furniture, it's a bed, when you open when you close became a shelves, etc. So this is the big trend. And now with this pandemic crisis, I can reaffirm for you, this is the trend for the rest of I think our life, especially older people, they don't want to have big house anymore. It's too expensive to maintain, too expensive to put furniture, too expensive for everything. So, design recommendations. If you study this chapter, you'll see in this chapter, they start to talk a lot about the guidelines. The guidelines, we talked for you guys in the first class, and then now, as you can see, these guidelines start to show up in each page. Because when we start to planning, that's the moment we need to take in consideration all of these guidelines. I don't need to go over all this because the book shows, but I need to talk only to highlight the importance. But this is something when you start to design, you need to take consideration the minimum open for the doors, the maximum for the door, the minimum area for the corridor for people using. So I know most of the time we won't have this space. I see something almost impossible for any designer and architect to not to respect, but to use all these recommendations, because it's just an idea. Okay, for us to go to have the minimum comfort, we need to respect these measurements, as you can see. But however, again, if you don't find this condition, we need to be really creative to get closer to this. But but try to fulfill these requirements, okay? The maximum you can. So the minimum open for kitchen door should be 32 inches. The medium universal is 34, and the maximum you see is 36. You never see bigger than this, but you find something like that to be awesome. But I believe most of the time you find something in between 32, 34 open, and you to try to resolve this, okay? So another important aspect is not only the access, but how to use the kitchen. So you need, if you have one person working, the minimum space between two surface area is 42 inches. But to have two people cooking, they ask for 48 inches. If you have a people in this house who depends to use some kind of equipment for him to move, in this case a wheelchair, the minimum should be 60 inches to make this maneuver possible. Another important aspect is the walkway. If you want to use, if you want to have space in between any surface, any part of the kitchen with the wall, the minimum should be 36. If you have a door here, it's in this corridor is smaller than 36, it'll be really narrow. So again, if you find this, good, but believe me, sometimes you don't find something like that. You need to be really creative. So again, if you have a people who depends of the wheelchair, again for walk through 36, it's the minimum, but the maximum for maneuver in this case 42. But we need here 60 inches. Otherwise, he cannot turn around. He cannot maneuver this wheelchair. So again, another chart showing all these profiles or these ergonomic studies. So it's something we don't define. It was defined for twice before for university, so we just apply it, okay? And then as you could see, and I was working, when I was talk with you previously about the kitchen, some slides came with this triangle. This triangle, it's something really important in kitchen design. We call it triangle. It's the triangle who define the distance between the three main workstation in the kitchen: refrigerator, sink, and the preparation, the stove. So as you can see, the National Kitchen Bath Association requires that between the refrigerator and the sink area, we cannot have a distance more than 9 feet. And in between the sink and the preparation area, no less than 4 inches. So this is the like as I can say, like the ideal to have a really comfortable area for you to work in a kitchen, safe and comfortable. And this slide shows one detail. National Kitchen Bath Associate allowed us to overlap one of these elements inside the triangle, but this overlap cannot exceed 12 inches. So this is something, it's a small detail, but there's a reason for this. If you put this kitchen, if you put this island, for example, a little bit inlay this triangle, the movement here want to be comfortable. You have to do some kind of adjustment in your walk. So your work here will be more difficult, it will be more dangerous. So try to respect this triangle work area to make this kitchen more comfortable and more safe. And again, the three areas, the three workstation in the kitchen is the sink. The sink is for not only for cleaning, but for food preparation, refrigerator, and the cooking. So the kitchen work triangle, it applies all this layout you saw previously, even in the wall kitchen. So as you can see, in parallel, L shape, island, G shape, U shape, they always will have this configuration. We always have this division between these areas, between the refrigerator and stove. For example, they always ask, don't put stoves or Ranger side by side with the refrigerator because one is cold and the other is hot. But in my house, my apartment, I have a refrigerator here and I have the Ranger exactly the side of my refrigerator. So as you can see, yeah, they ask, but most of the contract don't respect it. And I have my refrigerator side by side with my range. So it's not correct, but it happens. So this is another graph I like to show. This graph for you guys to understand what is a kitchen, what is inside the kitchen. So the the National Kitchen Batch Association divide the areas in four. The first is the destined for consumables, like a pantry, you put your food, you put your jar, jelly, etc. Another area for non-consumables, it's the silverware, plates, etc. One area designated for cleaning and preparation. They are together. As you can see, they are side by side. One for preparation and the last cooking. So basically, we have this in any kitchen in the rest of the world. You have the same idea. Storage, preparation, and storage, food preparation, and cooking it by itself. So, and then that's it. This is a way, that's the way you have to prepare your planning. When you put all this, when you define, when you get all the information, when you prepare all the information you get previously, the measurement of your customers, the size, the measurements, the utensil he has, etc. When you understand this conception, when you choose in your project which layout you want, which is better for your project, and then we put this in practice. So that's the idea of the kitchen planning. Let me see. Stop sharing. Okay. So it's almost 7. Was a little bit fast. Everybody still awake? Nobody sleeping? Okay.
We're good.
Okay. So I went fast. So that's it. So as you can see, as you could see, now we are in the phase where we start to choose, we start to define how the project is gonna be. With this chapter, it makes clear for us which direction to take. Now it's the moment in this phase we start to sketch. You start to sketch in a paper, you start to put all this information in a sketch, because the next step is gonna be the drawing itself. Okay, so any questions? No. Okay, guys. Let me see if I have anything else to talk with you guys. So I want to go over all the details because I ask you to read everything. And as you can see, when I talk about the chapter, I just do an introduction. I just do a presentation. I just get some special talk I think is the most important. But when you start to read the chapter, you see we have way more information. But again, don't try to memorize all the book, okay? This is something we need to know. You will get all this information. We will have this basically the most important in your mind, but during your professional life, sometimes you need to stop and say, oops, there's something here I forgot, and then get the book and read the book and do the consultation, and you'll see the answer there. That's the idea. So we never know try to memorize everything. So now that's it. I think the class for today is over for the presentation. I don't have anything to talk about this chapter now, unless you have any questions. Freddy doesn't have a question. Mia, Allison, Christy, nobody has questions. Okay. So tell me, you guys, today was a little bit slow, as you can see. So how was the class today? Any suggestions, any improvement for me, please? No?
I think it was a good lecture. It was pretty clear, so
Good.
thank you for the lecture.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I agree.
Agree, really? You guys making my day every day, because sometimes I get really shy when I start to talk. And then I say, maybe I'm not talking right, or maybe my accent's a little bit crazy, but please, if you be part of this team, I'm part of this team with you guys. And unfortunately, we are not face to face, but every time I teach, I always like to make my student comfortable in order to talk freely. And then I know it's this long distance is not the same like look into your eyes, but please feel free to always point. Dimitri, can you talk a little bit slow? Dimitri, can you read again? Or Dimitri, can you change something? Okay, make me when you guys point something, make me real happy, because I know I can improve myself all the time. But if you like the lecture, thank God. I pushed hard today to be more clear, but today was not in a good moment, because I'm a little bit hot. I have medicines every morning because I don't have my thyroid, and sometimes my hormone is unbalanced. And today is the day my hormone is really slow, and I got a little bit numb, but I think it was okay. All right, let me stop here the recording.